When I was 18 years old, I bought this Audi RS7, my dream car. I'm an insane entrepreneur, my life's great, and I'm super rich. Now on the surface, it might seem like your favorite influencer, that 13-year-old with a $100,000 M4, is living the best life. But not everything on social media is exactly what it seems, at least in my case. So yeah, I do have an 800 horsepower R7, and I did buy it myself, but it's kind of a jank job, but only I can see all the cracks in the bumper, the missing grille when I only want to show you the right side of my bumper, the PPF peeling off, my brakes that are about to crack at any second, and my exhaust that's hanging on by a thread. But wait, let's not forget about these 8 fault codes that I have on my dash. The time my engine started smoking while I was driving on the highway, the 14 fault codes that show up in OBD11, my 26 liters per 100 kilometers consumption, and most importantly, my 20,000 misfires, as well as my estimated horsepower loss of 320, which is more than half of the stock horsepower. Now let me start off with the most important issue, a potentially life-threatening issue, believe it or not. So one morning, I'm off to film a POV drive video when my exhaust seems a bit louder than usual. I didn't think twice of it because most of you know I already have a fully straight piped exhaust. So if it's a little louder or a little quieter, sometimes things happen with the pipes where it leaks a little bit, but it's no big deal. This particular day, for some reason, I was coughing like crazy since I started the car. Fast forward to when I do my first pull. For some reason, the car's not pulling at all. I didn't really get why in the moment, and then suddenly I see a bunch of smoke come up the middle. And this stuff didn't just smell like exhaust fumes. This stuff was disgusting. I right away pulled over, got out of the car, and started trying to breathe out whatever that was that I breathed in. I mean, just thinking right now, I'm not sure what would even smoke into the cabin if it was an engine issue. I don't know how it would even get in there. I don't have any leaks as far as I know, but it just sounded a little louder than usual, I gotta admit. Honestly, I gotta just take it to the mechanic. I can't keep driving like this. Now I got back in the car and continued to get basically gassed alive for no reason. I should have just towed it, honestly. But I just didn't have the time. I really wanted to film my video and I wanted to get back on the road quick. Now when I arrived at the mechanic, we put it up on the hoist, we immediately saw what happened. And it's pretty typical. At the flex joint, the 2 pipes ended up detaching. And it turns out that since I have a burble tune, all of that fuel that gets dumped into the exhaust to make flames and pops ended up melting my heat shield and various components under my car. So because of this, my mechanic had to take off some panels to access it, cut out that whole part of the exhaust and re-weld it with new piping. And it's obviously quite the job, so it costed me quite a bit too. But it's okay, at least I'm not getting gassed alive in my own car now. So that's problem number 1 fixed. Now let's move on to problem number 2. And yes, that's my engine smoking. I was driving around a year ago and I get a prompt that says add oil immediately on my MMI. Now me knowing absolutely nothing about cars, I search up the oil capacity of an RS7 and it says 9 liters and my MMI says it's at minimum. So I thought, okay, let's go buy 5 liters of oil to start off with. A minute later, I had to pull off the highway because my car started smoking like crazy. At this point, I'm thinking it's gonna explode because I don't know jack about cars. So here I am thinking, okay, this engine has gas, this engine has horsepower, it's gonna boom. So funny enough, I sat at the curb for maybe 20 or 30 minutes thinking that we're in an action movie and nothing happened. So I called my mechanic and I got it towed over to him. He texted me asking me why the f my oil was filled to 14 liters. I mean, he kinda had a point. And who would have thought I did a scan and now I have 14 codes. So effectively what happened is every engine has something called a PCV. What the PCV does is it takes oil from out of the engine and it breathes it. So it takes out all the air bubbles and sends it back into the intake system. The issue when you have 14 liters of oil is that thing isn't shooting any air, it's shooting straight oil into your intake. And that's going to cover your intake valves, intercooler, map sensors, throttle bodies, and generally kill your car. Now I actually got insanely lucky. If too much oil passed through the piston ring, the engine wouldn't be able to compress that amount of oil like it can for air and fuel, and my engine would have blown. My rod would have bent in half, and way worse things could have happened. Now for the last few months I dedicated myself to having some mechanical knowledge, and I tried to fix this issue, because I knew my engine wouldn't last long in this state. So I did a full teardown of the front end. That means bumper, front of the frame, rad pack, and I got all the way down to the intake manifold. As you can see here, I took out the charge cooler, which was covered in oil, the intercooler, which was also soaked in oil, and most catastrophically, the intake manifold, which was well oiled up. Pause. Now that's all cool. The work went well, everything was fine, I just had to clean it out and my car would be perfect. Little did I know, removing the intake manifolds on this car is a full engine out job. There is no universe where I'm doing that or paying for that, so our only option is this: CRC intake valve and turbo cleaner. Now there might not be very good reviews or experiences with this product, but at this point I'm not taking out my engine, so I don't have another choice. I gotta try it. Now let's get started on restoring this 800 horsepower monster. First things first, we're gonna pop the... This is an important step, don't forget to pop the hood. I'm just joking. Now our goal with the product is to mimic the effect that fuel has when you use port injection. So what the CRC spray does, look at my engine here, it will spray something called PEAs into the throttle body, down into the charge cooler, and into the intake valves. Then we let that sit for about an hour after emptying an entire can, and that's going to break down all those carbon deposits and send it out of our exhaust. First things first, we need to loosen up the pipe that connects the turbo to the throttle body, which then sends air into the engine. Since my car has 2 throttle bodies instead of 1, like most other cars, we're going to have to use 1 can individually and then 1 can split between the 2 banks. Now as I struggle to get that clamp off and open up that hose, the goal is to create enough room for the pipe from the can just to barely fit and join the stream. And yes, I got 3 whole cans of this stuff because $75 is cheaper than a $10,000 engine out job. Simply enough, we're just going to have to start the car up and have it running for us to be able to spray in 1-second spurts. I was able to create enough space for the straw to just barely fit inside of the tube, but here's the issue. This stuff is super flammable, combustible, poisonous, and everything you can think of. And my engine is really hot, especially considering the can is right next to the exhaust manifold. Now at this point, I'm a little stumped. I really don't want this stuff to explode in my face, and you guys really don't get how hot my engine gets. My master plan was to spray for maybe 1 to 2 seconds at a time and keep it away for 10 seconds just to let it cool off enough so it's not going to explode in my face. Now I was easily able to empty the can considering I had my trusty garden glove, and we're good to go. Now the next step is you're supposed to let it soak for about an hour, let it cool down a little bit, then you drive it like it is stolen. Had to make sure to refasten that clamp before I drove just to not cause any more issues. And now it's time to take it for about 300 kilometers of a drive, which is quite long and quite a lot of gas. But we have to make sure we do this just to make sure we burn it all out of the system before using the next can. The first thing you guys might notice is in a lot of my POV drives, the startup sounds really weak. Now, since I added this stuff, the startup felt a lot stronger and a lot more reactive. This might have just been because it was inside of the engine and because it was able to make it more combustible, but I'm not 100% sure. 300 kilometers and a lot of bug splats later, I finally got back, and now it's time for round 2. I'm not going to bore you guys with the same process another time, so let's skip right through this, let's do a little time lapse, and let's fast forward to the next drive. I'm going to be taking you guys with me, and we're going to blow out all of that garbage. Alright, last thing we gotta do before we drive it like it's stolen to hopefully blow out the rest of the carbon is we just gotta fasten up this last little clamp. Okay, it's not too hot anymore, at least I can touch it without that pink gardener glove. Beautiful. It really stinks in here too. There's a ton of white smoke coming out the back, and periodically you'll see black smoke coming out the back as well. It's also misfiring a ton too. I think that could be either because the air fuel mixture is disrupted by the spray or because carbon chunks are falling in. Hopefully that's the case. But anyways, let's get to business and let's check it out after. Put it in dynamic mode. Nice. Thank God I'm not getting gas this time either. Oh, is that a cop? Not a cop. That's a misfire. That's kind of to be expected. Hopefully that's just a chunk of the carbon falling in the combustion chamber. Now from here, I drove about 500 kilometers up north just to make sure that I was burning off everything that I could in the engine. Then that way when I came back, I would know if it worked or not. Unfortunately, I had some really bad results. I panicked so bad that I didn't even bother to record on the way back. You see, what happened is the car felt like it was choking, especially towards the end of the drive, where I thought it would all be fixed. And at this point in time, I'm thinking that maybe I finally fixed this thing that I've been working on for the last 3-4 months. When I would put down the throttle, the car wouldn't move at all. It's like someone was holding its neck and not allowing it to breathe. My last ditch effort at this point was to just call my mechanic and see what he thinks and try to get an idea of what's going on at this point. He didn't really have an idea either, just because he doesn't really work with this spray stuff. He does proper jobs, of course. But he did have one theory. Since the only way the carbon can exit is through the exhaust, there's a chance that all that black smoke and white smoke and garbage fouled my oxygen sensors so bad that it created a super rich or lean condition. So before I give up on this piece of junk, I might as well try this as a last ditch effort. I'll remove these here oxygen sensors, all 4 of them, and clean them one by one to see if it does anything. Out of my Ziploc tool bag, I'll grab this special tool called an oxygen sensor socket, or ratchet, whatever man. And honestly, this doesn't sound like a really hard job. I've tried it before, but this was hell. It took me like 5 minutes just to get it on the oxygen sensor because the downpipes were so goddamn hot. And honestly, this entire process ended up taking a few hours just to reach low enough to take them off. Looking at one of the oxygen sensors here, you can see it's pretty burnt up, which is normal, but the inside was also super carbon fouled. I used some carburetor cleaner to spray them down, let it evaporate, and then I reinstalled them a couple hours later. So it's now nighttime and I took the car for a very, very long drive, about 300 kilometers, just to make sure none of these codes are gonna come back. And surprisingly, not a single one did, even after the 300 kilometers. The real way for me to test if there's more airflow and if the situation was actually fixed was to make some logs. The number you see from this log, -1.6, means that the engine was cutting 1.6% of fuel to the right side. This number genuinely made my jaw drop to the floor. The previous log I did, which was only 2 days ago, saw that the engine was cutting 8% to the right side of the engine. That means that almost 7% of airflow has been restored on that bank, and most likely on the other one too. Now for the real test. I have never felt this car spin up all 4 wheels and yank me back so hard in my life. I didn't even know this was possible. I'm beginning to understand what 800 horsepower actually feels like and the whole hype behind these twin-turbo V8s. I've only really felt the real speed of my car when it was bone stock, which was 560 horsepower. But ever since I've been tuned, I've had this oil issue. Even look at the difference between the flames that the car shoots. It's insane. I didn't know it would have an impact on something like backfire as well. Now pay attention to the flames in the after clip. Now all in all, this product worked absolute wonders for me. I'm not sponsored at all and I'm not paid to say this, but I think the reason it worked so well for me is because my carbon buildup is very recent. A lot of people try to use it on very, very hard baked carbon buildup, but for me, I only had this oil spill pretty recently. So the oil is probably still liquid, not very baked on, and pretty minimal. Anyways, I appreciate each and every one of you for watching this video, and as always, keep dreaming big.